with the Packers wide receiver, and I don't have concerns, right? Like, there's clearly some pieces there, and there's been flashes, but I want results now, right? In a year that has expectations for the Packers, I would love to see somebody take that step to be the true number one. And while it's nice that you've got a bunch of nice pieces, and you can scheme different guys open, and you can scheme different guys to be the guy, right? There was a Bo Melton game last year. It feels like Super Bowl teams always have a number one true receiver, right? With the Patriots for years, it was Gronkowski. With the Chiefs now in back-to-back Super Bowl wins, it's been Kelsey. For the Rams a couple of years ago, when they won the Super Bowl, Cooper Kupp had MVP-like numbers that season. The Packers don't really have a true number one. Is that concerning, or am I maybe overthinking that one?
I think it's a high variance for the Packers. To expect for them to repeat what they did last year with this group of wide receivers is probably a bit of a bridge too far. Goody is trying to basically go against how the rest of the NFL works, because they might be rolling out the youngest team in the NFL again, which historically is not the way that you win Super Bowls. And then they might also be rolling out the youngest wide receiver crew again without a true number one. Christian Watson, if healthy, which is a giant asterisk, could be a number one. Jaden Reed screams more of Deebo Samuel, Tyreek Hill type weapon guy than a true one. I don't think he's going to develop into I use DJ Moore as an example because he's a smaller receiver. I don't think Reed gets to that. But you look at his pedigree. If Jaden Reed was 3 inches taller, he's probably a top 10 pick. So I do think that there's a ton of talent with him, and I think he's their best offensive weapon. And I understand the idea of spreading the ball around, but the San Francisco game, and there's games throughout the year when Jordan Love struggled, sometimes those guys don't get open. What happens when they're not schemed open? What happens when they're not running free into the secondary because the defense screwed up? What happens when defenses have an entire offseason, not to slow down Jordan Love, but just to understand a little bit more of what the Packers are doing with Jordan Love? So at the very minimum, there's not guys running free. That there are, at least, if a guy is open, they're NFL open and not just running, like a deer into the woods. So and that's not going to hurt Jordan. What will hurt Jordan Love is that, what happens when he has to make every throw perfect instead of having a few tougher throws or a few easy throws to make every game to build up that confidence? And Jordan Love is going to be, I think we saw his floor last year. I think at a bare minimum, he'll get marginally better. I think he could be, I don't see him as like Mahomes level or Rodgers, but I do think he could be somewhere in that Dak Prescott, Jared, and I think Dak Prescott is good. I mean, he led the number one offense in the NFL last year. Jared Goff, a lot of these, Jimmy Garoppolo, all these guys got the quarter. He's different, but they all got their teams to Super Bowls. You can win with them, and at times win because of them. He'll make plays. Because I think it is there's 3 or 4 quarterbacks at the top of the NFL, and then there's maybe 7, 8 guys who are right below that, and then there's the rest of the league. And I think Jordan lives in that 7 to 8 guys who are just below the top of the NFL.